Hey, what's up, nerds? It's Paul here at Radio Free Hammer Hall, and we are here after dark for the Slaves to Darkness. I apologize now if I'm being kind of quiet. I'm trying to not wake my kids up as it's fairly late in the evening now. They're all in bed. So, yeah, we're going to move right along with some big Slaves to Darkness leaks that we have that just came through today. And with me is my illustrious co-host, my boy Josh.
I think the child problem is something that a lot of wargamers can relate to. It's like a bunch of dads.
Yeah. And my office is literally right next to both of my kids' bedrooms.
Oh my gosh.
And like I just don't have another good medium to do this right now. So here we are.
But the slaves leaks don't wait for your children. They come out.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I just want to say, starting right off at the top, all of these that we have here are leaks that have just kind of gone out publicly on the internet. These are not from anyone that I know. So I just wanted to get that out of the way in case somebody at Games Workshop happens to watch this and like, where did this come from? I have no idea, my dude.
Reddit.
This was just on Facebook, and I grabbed it, and if this was something that was from an NDA of somebody that I knew, I would not be sharing it to the internet. Nor would I think I would actually have any of this if this was coming from any of the people that I know that have NDAs and get this stuff ahead of time. But anyway, the point is, this stuff has all been available, floating around the internet since earlier today. I'm not going to share anything here that I got through any sort of illicit source or anything like that. There's nobody in my personal network that has leaked this that I'm aware of. Although we can see that somebody's hand is here. I don't know whose hand that is. Although,
they are married. We know they're likely married.
Yeah, like what kind of genius takes a picture of their hand when they have like something like a wedding ring that is like could just be so easily identified? Like whoever this is going to be found out. Anyway, shall we jump into this?
I'm willing. This looks cool.
All right, have you looked at any of this stuff yet?
No, this is all a first for me. So
right. I have like skimmed through stuff. I haven't gone like really deep on everything yet, but yeah, this is what we got. So we're starting off with all the pitch battle profiles, which is sort of like usually the bottom of the book or the back of the book. I just thought this was good to take a look at real quick. If you notice here, there's not really any conditional battle line. Like all of those Warcry warbands that like used to be like conditional battle line, they're all battle line all the time now. And then we also have the option to take Chaos Chariots in a unit of 3, which is just interesting.
They're pretty big. They're the same size as a Skull Cannon, aren't they?
Yeah, standard chariot base.
I hope they can like effectively fly over your own units.
Yeah, I mean, without going through all of these like in detail, I mean, it looks like a lot of things got bumped up, maybe like 10% or so. But as we'll see, like the power level seems to definitely be way up with this.
Yeah.
This is a strong book from my first impression of it. Oh, interesting. I just saw that you can also take the Gore-Beast Chariots in units of 3. And, well, that's terrifying for when we get to the Gore-Beast Chariot War Scroll. Holy shit.
I'll wait.
Yeah.
I'm going to snip this, by the way, so that way I have like a reference as we're going through these War Scrolls, because the points don't mean a lot to me if they've changed all these war scrolls. Do you know, like, of all the Warcry units, have those war scrolls been updated, or are they still the same?
I don't have any of those.
Okay.
I have a lot of the war scrolls, but not the whole list. Yeah. Just a quick look at our allies. It's basically just all of chaos except Skaven. And nothing else is like terribly exciting. A lot of this is like not huge changes in points from what we had before, not big changes in unit sizes or anything like that. Of note, though, Chaos Marauders are in units of 10. So with current reinforcement rules, they can only go to a maximum of 30.
The Demon Prince costs a lot less, actually.
Really?
It's like, I think it's 240 right now. Let me double check. Maybe I might be just totally off. I mean, I use it all the time, right? I should know, but you know, sometimes I don't pay attention. Let's see.
Here we go.
Yeah, Demon Prince is 210, so it's gone down about 10%. So that it must be a weaker war scroll.
Yeah, I don't have that war scroll.
Okay.
So let's see what we have here. So this is our standard beginning of this crap. Get to pick your damned legions. We have 2 heroic actions. We can pledge to the dark gods. Pick a friendly slaves to darkness hero with the Eye of the Gods keyword. Until end of turn, each time you roll on the Eye of the Gods table for that hero, you can roll 3 dice instead of 2 and pick any 2 of the dice that you roll.
So you get to roll with advantage?
Yeah, basically. But what's funky about this is that you really only get to roll on the Eye of the Gods table like when your hero does something, like kill something.
Okay. So like they're like kind of like being blessed by their god or they're being rewarded.
Yeah. Okay. And then second heroic action is draw on power. You pick a friendly slaves to darkness wizard. Until the end of the turn, when you're making casting rolls, you roll 3 dice instead of 2. If the unmodified roll on 2 or more of those dice is a 1, the spell is a miscast, and the caster suffers D6 mortal wounds instead of the usual D3. But this is not roll 3 dice, drop the lowest. It's just cast on 3 dice.
Right. I was gonna say that's pretty powerful because it brings your average dice roll up like above 9.
Yeah, it's 3 dice is 10.5.
That's wild.
Yep.
That's very good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Heroic action. That doesn't cost you anything. All right. Let's keep going here. Marks of Chaos. Same deal as before. If your unit has a Mark of Chaos or keyword, they can pick one of these 5 marks, undivided, or one of the 5 gods, or one of the 4 gods, rather. We're not counting the Great Horned Rat here, so just the 5 marks. Undivided, let's see, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. There's 2 things in all of these. They all have a like a static ability, and then I think most of these are command abilities, except Zinch is a spell.
Before we is there a leak of the Eye of the Gods table?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, all right, because a lot of this is like that the power level of that first one is very contingent on how good Eye of the Gods is.
Yes, and I haven't actually read all of that yet, but the old one was like, you roll on the Eye of the Gods table when your hero kills something.
Okay.
Okay. So undivided, all of your mortal and Oroid Slaves to Darkness Undivided units that are not unique gain the Eye of the Gods keyword. So they're all getting to roll on the Eye of the Gods table. And when you roll, you can re-roll any one of the dice.
Heroes, right?
Yeah,
heroes.
To change your the result on the table. And then you have a command ability of Undivided Slaves to Darkness has to receive the command. Until the end of the phase, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target a hero or a monster.
Depending on the number of command points you have, that could be very potent because we already have the command ability to add +1 to hit.
Yeah, you just can't stack both of them on the same unit, but you can go like that one is +1 to hit, that one is +1 to wound.
Oh, yes, you can't receive more than 1 command ability per phase.
Yes. All right, so Mark of Corn, add 1 to the attack's characteristics of melee weapons if the unit made a charge move that turn. That's really good. That also is very Corn.
Yeah, it's super good. It's like it's pretty good. I think it's really it really depends on the volume of attacks that the units already have.
Mm-hmm.
So like if they're models that hit with 1 attack and they're very powerful hits, then you're like effectively doubling the damage per unit, and in those cases very strong. Or if mounts have like a limited number of attacks, you're like doing significantly more depending on the number of profiles. But
yeah,
it really depends on the units that are coming out. I could see it being very strong with some of the Warcry sets, especially the ones that are like that do mortal wounds on hit rolls of 6.
Yeah,
and like you're doubling the effectiveness of that ability by doubling the number of attacks. So that's pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then the command ability for Corn, it's basically doing impact hits on the charge. When the unit completes a charge move, you roll a die on a 2-up. The enemy unit suffers.
That's negligent. Like I just don't think it matters that much.
Yeah, I mean a command point for most likely
2 mortal wounds on average, and it has a possibility of failure. Like just give them the D3.
Yeah. Like, did we really need to throw more dice into this?
Yeah, their command, unless there's like a lot of ways to get command points in slaves. D3 mortal wounds is worth less than a single command point in most cases.
Yeah. All right. So Tzeentch, all Tzeentch Slaves to Darkness get a 6-up spell ignore, and they all your Tzeentch wizards know warp reality. Range of 9, casting value 6. You pick 1 friendly Tzeentch Slaves to Darkness unit that is visible to the caster, not necessarily within range, visible to the caster. You remove that unit from the battlefield and then set it up again within range of the caster and more than 9 inches from enemy units. So you're teleporting a Tzeentch Slaves to Darkness unit from anywhere on the battlefield to within 9 inches of the wizard.
So this can backfire.
Yep.
Because like if you're trying to buff your unit, I guess it really depends on the spells that are available, but if you're trying to buff your unit, let's see, on a 6, that spell is not effective.
All right. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. There's definitely some utility there. Like being able to pull a unit that's anywhere on the board to wherever your wizard is. Like you just have to have your wizard in a good place.
Yeah, I guess it's not always an advantage because it really depends on how many spells you're like using to buff your units. So there's a chance that you could just fail to buff your units.
Yeah.
But I use this works very similarly to the Corn Loathsome Sorcery, and I can tell you right now, this is probably one of the weaker marks of chaos, if you were to ask me.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess you're really it's really going to be good though if you need to like move people around the board very quickly. Like the spell is probably pretty good if you're rolling 3 dice.
Yeah. All right, Nurgle. All of your Slaves to Darkness Nurgle units are -1 to wound. Like all melee weapons attacking them -1 to wound. Like that's really strong. It's
That's
also
rotten. That's really good. That's really good.
Oh, you just wait until we look at the War Scrolls. It's gonna get even better.
The scary thing about that is like there's not a lot of ways to buff wound rolls in this game.
Yeah.
And so like the fact that you're like hitting this aspect of the War Scroll that doesn't have a lot of ways to like mitigate the debuff, like I think that's really good. What's the command ability?
You use the command ability at the start of the combat phase. You pick a Nurgle unit, and after the unit fights for the first time at the end of the phase, roll a die for each enemy unit within 3 inches. On a 3-up, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds.
So I think that's a lot better than the Khorne one.
It is, but I mean, again, it's situational, and it's potentially hitting more than 1 unit, but it's also on a 3-up, and it's only D3.
Yeah, but you can. I mean, from the sounds of it, like if this army is fast and you can like kind of engage the entirety of your enemy's army and just all right, that unit that's really that doesn't do a lot of damage, but it's really hard to kill. It gets a bonus, even though you want to kill all these other units that I have. So I mean, I think it's pretty good. I think it's better than the Khorne one, but
yeah,
like it's not overtly powerful. It's not going to ruin the game. What about Slaanesh?
Yeah, I just realized that when I did Slaanesh, I accidentally cut off the bottom of it. There we go. Let's move that a little bit, and there we go.
Nice.
So add 1 to run and charge for all of your Slaanesh units, and then you have a command ability that lets a unit run and charge.
That's so powerful.
That's incredibly powerful.
I think Marcus Slaanesh and probably I don't know. I think in terms of power level, I think that I don't know enough about the chaos table. So Mark of Chaos Undivided seems really good, but
Yeah,
I think Tzeentch is the weakest.
for sure.
I think
When the
Mark.
rest are kind of like conditional on your play style. I mean, I think Khorne, Nurgle, and Slaanesh are all really good, but they're like it tailors to your play style and
Yeah,
like
Khorne,
what kind of list you want to build.
Khorne's really aggressive, but like if you can't get there, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's like if your opponent has got a list that is just killing you more than you're killing them, and you're not charging them. Khorne is kind of a waste, right?
Yeah.
And so then Nurgle and Slaanesh seem really strong. I think Nurgle and Slaanesh are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Run and charge is super good, especially when you have +1 to both.
And a lot of the War Scrolls still kept their +1 to run and charge as well.
Wow. Yeah,
So
that's solid.
yeah, everything would be like +2 to run and charge, plus you can like command point for forward to, or not forward to victory. Whatever the run 6 one is.
We all know how good mobility is too in this game.
Yeah, it's bananas. All right, let's keep it moving here so that we're not up all friggin' night looking at this stuff. This is where you're going to start crapping your pants. Let's just read Host of the Everchosen. When a Host of the Everchosen unit that is Chaos Chosen, Chaos Knights, Chaos Warriors, or Varangard receive the rally command, you can return 1 slain model to that unit for every 4+ instead of 6. In addition, you can pick an additional Ensorcel Banners enhancement for your army, which we'll see those later on, but they're similar to mount traits, basically, but for units instead of.
That's scary. Rally's super scary on those units too.
Yeah, all of those units are good. and like you could just have your whole army rally on 4+. Like that's not unreasonable.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's insane. Legion of the First Prince. Let's see. Get a Legion of the First Prince undivided unit. Pick one of the following marks. That unit has the mark until your next hero phase. So one of your heroes can just change its mark on demand. And then Infernal Servants, when you ally in Horrors, Plague Bearers, and Demonettes, and Bloodletters, they get the benefit of the Mark of Chaos battle traits. So what we were just looking at.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, I know that's really good with the Bloodletters. You can add +1 attack. They can make a charge, but they're kind of slow.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that matters.
I mean, the thing that I'm most excited about with this is that the current incarnation of Legion of the First Prince is dead.
Yeah.
That way.
I really like that army, though. I love Control, and it was the first time I ever saw like a really cool, not completely unfair. I mean, remember when Tzeentch, when it first came into play, it was like, I think you could change your opponent's die rolls.
Mm-hmm.
And that felt really bad. This Legion of the First Prince was I don't know, it was annoying to play against. It wasn't very fun. But if you're like me, I really enjoyed the decision making. I can see why they got rid of it. It's not fun to play against unless you're a masochist. You want to get punished. Wow, that's a really creative thing you did to crush me.
So Cabalists, it makes all of your heroes wizards. And if your hero is already a wizard, they can get an additional cast or unbind attempt, and they know an additional spell. In addition, if you use the drawn power heroic action, that's the one that lets you cast on 3d6. With a Cabalist hero, you can immediately carry out the same heroic action with each other Cabalist hero within 3 inches of the first.
And that's especially powerful with that one that lets you have to roll 3 dice to cast.
Yeah.
So like you could have like just a powerful casting turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll say what I think later, but I think that's pretty solid. It really just depends on the spells available, the whether or not they really hammer down the endless spells in this next update. Who knows?
All right. Spoilers. I think this is like the most disappointing one. You just add 2 to the wounds characteristic of your monsters, and your despoiler demon princes get a command trait in addition to your general.
Are the command traits really good?
No.
Then
I don't know why this is here.
Well, I mean, you have a bunch of demon princes that they're monsters now, right? Like, I think the new worst rule is that they're monsters. So they get additional wounds. They have a 3-up save. If the command traits are even remotely good, maybe it is good, and we just don't know.
Yeah,
but the command traits must be different. So I'd have to see the command traits. But it doesn't sound great because GW is notorious for these mediocre command traits.
Yeah. Ravagers, all it really does is give you a heroic action that lets you get a Marauder Horseman, Cultist, or Dark Oath unit that's been slain and set it back up on the battlefield at half of its starting strength.
I think that has the potential to be really powerful.
It does. At the moment, it's hard to tell how powerful it is because I have not seen any of those war scrolls. So
Yeah, but that's a lot of summoning. That's what five units summoned, depending on whether or not units are dying the first turn. So it could be really good.
yeah. And then Knights of the Empty Throne, similar to what we had before. All of your Knights of the Empty Throne units that have a mount can run and charge. So all of your Vanguard, all of your Knights, all of your Chariots, for some reason your Chaos War Shrine, your Manticores, they all run in charge all the time.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah. And then if that was not enough, when you pick the general for your army, you can make a unit of Vanguard your general, just like the old version of it. And if you do so, it gains the leader battlefield role. And if you issue the rally command and a friendly Vanguard unit receives it, you can turn one slain model to that unit for each 5-up instead of 6.
Okay, yeah, I think it's good, especially like in like. I think Corn might be a really good choice for this, or Corn or Nurgle. They're both really good.
Yeah,
because Corn makes your knights are already pretty killy, so Nurgle's good depending on what your needs are.
Yeah. So I mean, out of all of these, like there's definitely some interesting options in here. I think Knights of the Empty Throne is really strong. Host of the Everchosen seems very, very strong. Like I feel like that's going to be the one that's like the default unless you have something else you're doing.
Yep, Cabalist could just take the cake if the spells are really good too.
Mm-hmm.
Cabalist looks pretty scary.
Yeah, Legion of the First Prince, Despoilers, and Ravagers, I am not too excited about, but you know, having not seen all of the War Scrolls yet, just have some of the War Scrolls. It's not. You know, we will see what happens. All right, moving right along. Artifacts, command traits, and the Eye of the Gods table. So our regular old Slaves to Darkness heroes, artifacts. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If the unmodified wound roll for that attack is a 6, the attack causes a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic, and the sequence ends. I mean, can be good. Helm of the Oppressor. Enemy units cannot receive the Inspiring Presence or Rally commands while they're within 6 inches of the bearer.
That's good.
Yeah, that's definitely pretty solid. Conqueror's Crown. Enemy models with a wounds characteristic of 1 or 2 that are within 6 inches of the bearer cannot contest objectives.
That's scary.
That could be really strong.
That could be brutal, especially because like Galatian vets are mostly 1 and 2 wound models.
Mm-hmm. All right, and then Slaves to Darkness Wizards. Once per battle at the start of your hero phase, you can say the bearer will call upon the Chaos Familiar. If you do, the bearer can attempt to cast 1 additional spell that hero phase, and that spell can be from any of the Lore of the Damned, which we will be getting to shortly.
I don't think that's that great.
Yeah, not that exciting. Once per battle at the start of the enemy hero phase, you can pick 1 enemy wizard within 24 inches of the bearer and visible to them. Till the end of that phase, each time that wizard attempts to cast any spell, they suffer D3 mortal wounds before the casting roll is made.
So that could be so annoying.
Yeah.
Like against like Nagash or
it's like fuck you, Zinch.
Yeah, or it's some kind of Zinch. But you're only picking 1 wizard, so you know it just depends on it. It's very situational, and in some cases it'll be very annoying, and in other cases it just won't matter.
Yeah. All right, command traits. Slaves to Darkness heroes. Once per battle in the combat phase, after this general has fought for the first time in that phase, you can say that They will deal death if you do. The general can fight for a second time in that phase. And the strike last effect applies to this general when they fight for the second time.
Whatever.
I mean,
If it was
once
attack
per
immediately,
battle, that's not exciting.
yeah, if it was attack immediately, I'd say awesome, but it's not.
Yeah. Favorite of the Pantheon has to be on an Eye of the Gods hero, and after deployment, you can roll it once on the Eye of the Gods table for the general. So they just kind of get some sort of boon from the beginning of the game, but it's random. Arch Sorcerer only goes on a wizard. The general knows all of the spells from the lore of the Dam, in addition to the spells it knows. And then Idolater Lord, the general becomes a priest. In addition, you can choose to replace the undivided keyword on every undivided cultist unit in your army with any of the other keywords, and all cultist units must be given the same keyword, and it must be one this general has too. Oh, okay. So you can make your cultists any god mark, but they have to match the general. All right, and then aspects of the Ascended. This is Slaves to Darkness Demon Princes. At the in each hero phase, once you've carried out a heroic action, if you did not carry out the heroic action with this general, you can carry out an additional heroic action with this general.
I think that's good.
Yeah, the heroic action carried out cannot be the same as the other heroic action you've already done.
But like, remember that one where it's like all the demon princes get 2 wounds? Like, I think that's a really good ability.
Bolstered by chaos, add to the general's wounds characteristic. In addition, this general becomes a monster.
Okay.
I wonder if you do that in Despoilers. You give that to a demon prince, it adds 2 to their wounds characteristic, and then it makes it a monster, and Despoilers adds 2 to the wounds characteristic of monsters. So in Despoilers, does that make your demon prince plus 4 wounds?
Might already be monsters now. I think the updated worst roll makes them monsters.
No, this is just command traits for demon princes.
Oh, so they're not monsters.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I think it might. But that's gonna have to be. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Start of your hero phase.
All right. Radiance of Dark Glory at the start of your hero phase. Roll a die for each friendly model within 9 inches of the general that has any wounds allocated to them. On a 3-up, you can heal 1 wound from the model being rolled for. If the model being rolled for is a monster, on a 3+, you can heal 3 wounds instead.
I agree with Jack on his Bloodstoker assessment.
Yes, always. And then Diabolic Mastery, undivided only once per battle. When you carry out the heroic action with this general, you can carry out any of the heroic actions on its war scroll, even if it does not have the required keywords. I don't have the Demon Prince war scroll, so I don't know how good that is. So from this, like artifacts and command traits, I'm not super excited about these. But that's also totally okay, because you don't need to always have good artifacts and command traits. Sometimes they're just a little buff. All right. Eye of the Gods table. At the end of each phase, for each enemy hero or monster destroyed by a friendly Slaves to Darkness unit with the Eye of the Gods keyword, including those destroyed by an ability or spell used by the Slaves to Darkness unit, make 1 roll on the Eye of the Gods table for that Slaves to Darkness unit and apply the effect of the result. In addition, you gain control of an objective previously controlled by your opponent. Make 1 roll on the Eye of the Gods table for each friendly Slaves to Darkness unit with the Eye of the Gods keyword that is contesting it. When rolling on the Eye of the Gods table, roll 2d6. For all other units, roll 1 die and add a 2 to the score, giving a score between 3 and 8. So that is for whatever that thing was that makes all of your units get the Eye of the Gods keyword. Is that Undivided? Yeah, Undivided does that. Okay, so for your 2d6 rolls or 1d6 plus 2, Spawndom, the hero is slain, it turns into a chaos spawn. Snubbed by the gods, nothing happens. Mutative regrowth, you heal up to d3 wounds allocated to this unit. If the unit has no wounds allocated to it, treat it as snubbed by the gods instead, so does nothing. Flames of Chaos, the next time this unit is affected by a spell cast by an enemy unit, roll a die on a 2+, ignore the effect of that spell on this unit. The unit cannot be affected by the result of this more than once at a time. Unearthly Reflexes, until the end of the battle, add 1 to charge rolls made for this unit.
That's interesting. So like that Flames of Chaos.
Yep.
So it says it can't be affected by this result more than once at a time, which means the other ones may stack.
True. But I mean, it's going to be hard to get the same result on Eye of the Gods more than once. It's going to be hard to get to roll on the Eye of the Gods table for one unit more than once.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. It's just interesting because, like, for example, you could be like, well, I rolled an 8 twice, right? Well, now I have Ren plus or Ren -2. It's pretty good.
Yeah. 7 Unholy Resilience, until the end of the battle, the unit has a ward of 6+. That's going to be your most common result. For 8, we improve the Ren characteristic of the unit's melee weapons by 1. That's actually pretty good. For a 9, it's an Arcane Awakening. The unit becomes a wizard and can attempt to cast and unbind 1 spell. If the unit's already a wizard, it gets an additional spell. If the unit has the Corn keyword, you treat the result as Slaughter Strength instead, so they improve Rend by 1. Aura of Chaos, on a 10, you get a ward of 5+. And 11 and 12, Dark Apotheosis. If you roll this result, choose either the Demon Hood effect below or any other result on this table instead. You can add a Slaves to Darkness Demon Prince to your army. If you do, set it up within 1 inch of the hero and remove the hero from play. They do not count as being slain. The Demon Prince is the Mark of Chaos keyword of the hero that was removed. And it gets the command traits and artifacts that the hero had.
I do like that it's an 11 or 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Looking at this from the perspective of what you can potentially get with Undivided, so you're looking at just 3 through 8. 3 is nothing, 4 is healing and very frequently going to just be nothing. Flames of Chaos, ignoring a spell, so that's 50% of these that basically do nothing. 6 is add 1 to run and charge rolls. I'm sorry, not run and charge rolls, just charge rolls. 7 is a 6-up ward. 8 is improve Rend by 1. So I feel like the Undivided mark is not that exciting. I don't know.
You have like an 8.2% chance of rolling an 11 or a 12, so that might actually happen.
Yeah,
like you'll see that happen a couple times in a tournament.
Yeah. All right. So core battalions, because of course we have core battalions. Chaos Warband is just a leader and some number of units, basically. And then potentially 1 behemoth, and then Overlords of Chaos is just a whole bunch of Varangard. And both of them are unified. Chaos Warband has Slayers, so one unit from the battalion can receive the all-out attack or unleash hell command without a command being issued, or I'm sorry, without a command point being spent. And then Overlords of Chaos is magnificent, so it gives you an extra enhancement.
I think it's interesting that they show all these other icons that aren't used, but
yeah, I mean, cut and paste.
yeah, but at the same time, like I don't know, cool. Like I guess it gives you one drop. I think it's all good.
Yeah. All right. Ensorcelled banners. So you get just by default, you get one for your army. You give it to one of your standard bearers in a unit of chosen warriors or chaos knights. And that's basically it. Fairly standard enhancement rules other than that. So what do we have? Blasphemous Icon. While this model is on the battlefield, subtract 1 from chanting rolls from prayers chanted by priests that do not have the chaos keyword.
I think that's going to hose Stormcast and it's going to hose Fire Slayers. And like some games, it's going to be devastating. They're going to go to translocate and it's not going to happen. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed.
Yeah. And I mean, armies with priests, that's crippling unless you're Skaven. For everybody else, it does not matter.
Yeah, all chaos priests don't care, but I think some games this is going to really hurt.
All right, the Dread Banner can only go on an undivided unit. Each time the unit rolls on the Eye of the Gods table, you can roll 2 dice instead of 1 and pick which one you want to use for your roll.
After looking at the Eye of the Gods table, I don't care.
Yeah, I do not care. Banner of Rage has to go on Khorne units. Add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made by melee weapons with that unit.
This could be really good.
Yep, that's pretty good.
Especially because there's a lot of Khorne units, like Blood Warriors, for example. Like they have 4 wound rolls, and so like there's a lot of Khorne units with poor wound rolls and good hit rolls. So that's really good.
This is only going on chosen Chaos Warriors or Chaos Knights.
Oh, then I really don't know what their worst rolls look like. I imagine that
I think basically all of them are wounding on 3s.
Oh, then it's good. It's just good.
Yeah.
So you'll fail 33% less. Yeah. That's good.
Blasted Standard is for Tzeentch. It starts off really good and ends bad. This unit has a 4+ ward for attacks made with missile weapons. Can we just say that they don't like Tzeentch? Whoever wrote this book just doesn't like Tzeentch.
I think that a ward of 4+, I guess missiles aren't as threatening in the current edition. So maybe this is.
And you're not going to usually be targeting something like Chosen or Warriors or Chaos Knights with missile attacks.
I guess it just depends on how good Chosen are.
Yeah. They're pretty good. I like the scroll. Let's see. Eroding Icon is for Nurgle. Worsen the Rend characteristic of melee weapons used by enemy models by 1 while they're wholly within 12 inches of this unit.
I think that's awesome.
That is crazy good.
That is phenomenal. That ability is bonkers.
So they like Nurgle. They hate Tzeentch. Whoever wrote this book.
Yeah, it feels bad being a Tzeentch player.
And then the Banner of Screaming Flesh. First of all, I love that name. I don't care what this does. I just like the name.
I just watched Hellraiser.
Make a banner of Screaming Flesh. So it's obviously for Slaanesh. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of the unit's melee weapons if it made a charge move.
So it gets Khorne, and they get +1 to run and charge, and they can run and charge. So they're going to make it. Yep. I think that's really good. It's good.
Yep.
Like, imagine Chosen that can run and charge, get +1 to run and charge, and add 1 to all their attacks.
And Chaos Knights.
Yeah.
You can do that to Chaos Knights.
Seems
And
good.
oh, by the way, units of 10 Chaos Knights are a thing.
They're good.
As we will see.
Okay.
All right. And our spell lore, the lore of the damned, including unique units. We do not need errata for that. They did it correctly this time. Binding Damnation casts on a 7, range of 12. Pick an enemy unit within range invisible until your next hero phase. The strike last effect applies to that unit.
So one thing I like that they're introducing this book is like the idea of strike first and strike last, rather than like always attacks first. That's too wordy.
Yep.
Strike first, strike last.
Yep.
Regular strike. Right in the middle. Good. Done. So that's a nice addition. They're finally starting to add some quality keywords to the game.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely some wizards that can like get up in battle, like the Sorcerer Lord on Manticore. Like he can definitely, like, you're probably not doing that first turn, but you know, in subsequent battle rounds, you're probably going to have him near enemy units, and you know, being able to just go, you strike last is pretty powerful. I definitely like that.
They have a better melee war scroll too now. I mean, if you're only in combat with one unit, it's the equivalent of all your units strike first. It's really good.
Spike Tongue Curse has a casting value of only 3, range of 12. Pick an enemy unit within range invisible to the caster. That unit suffers 3 mortal wounds. If the casting roll is unsuccessful or the spell is unbound, the caster suffers 3 mortal wounds.
I love this.
I mean, it's super cool.
I
really like it. I like it from a flavorful, like Timmy sort of perspective.
Yeah,
like that's an awesome like moment of drama, just dropping those dice and seeing if you're gonna do damage to your opponent or yourself.
Especially if they have no casters left, it's just like, oh, or they don't have casters in the army.
Yeah,
it's 0 risk. It's just take 3. Yep. Especially if you're rolling 3 dice, it's like now it's.
Yeah. Chaotic Conduit, casting value 7, range of 12. I'm beginning to see a pattern here. Yes, they are all range 12. That's interesting. All right. Successfully cast, pick a friendly Eye of the Gods unit, and you can immediately roll on the Eye of the Gods table for that unit.
All right. So there's another way to force rolls onto the Eye of Gods table. Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting if you're running an undivided army. Yeah, that's interesting. I like it. I like that they're making the Eye of the Gods table like a real thing in this book. Like it was just a thing that I always forgot even existed in the old book.
Yeah, and it's got some good buffs.
Yeah, and they're not overpowered buffs, but they're solid. Like I wouldn't turn those buffs down. Ruinous Vigor, casting value 6, range 12. Pick a friendly Slaves to Darkness monster, wholly within range, invisible to the caster. And let's just note really quick that the Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Manticore could just target himself.
Yes.
Until the start of your next hero phase, use the top row on that unit's damage table, regardless of how many wounds it has suffered.
I just don't think it's going to get used that much. It'll get used because people have to cast spells. That's why.
Yeah. It's very situational.
Yep.
I'm not sure where I would like want to pick that as being like the thing that I have. All right, and Demonic Speed is our last spell. Casting value 6, range 12. Pick a Slaves to Darkness unit in range that has a mount. And until the start of your next hero phase, you can attempt to charge with that unit when it's within 18 inches of the enemy instead of 12, and you roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 for charge rolls.
I think this is this is like the definition of a Hail Mary sort of spell. It's like, oh, I have one way that I can do it, and every once in a blue moon it'll work out, and everyone will go, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, it's casting value 6, so it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And if you're combining that with like Slanesh, you can run and charge.
Mhm.
If you are Knights of the Empty Throne, you can run and
Yeah.
charge.
I'm
So
not saying there aren't situations where it'll be applicable. I'm saying the situations where this is applicable are going to be those situations where, like, if I can do this, I can win.
yeah,
But it's always a long shot, but you try anyway.
yeah. But you know what? Like, that's
I like that.
like the
I honestly
fun
like that.
stuff in this game. I think is when like you create situations where you can just like make that thing that feels like really long odds be not as long of odds.
Travis, Slanesh Mark is good now. It gives +1 to run and charge, and it also has a command ability that allows you to run and charge with a single unit. It's really good. Just depends on your play style.
Yeah. So like if we could throw demonic speed on a Slanesh unit and give it the run and charge and command point it to run 6, it's going to be running 7 and then a charge that is an average of an 11. So it's 18 inches before you factor in its move characteristic. That's a long ass move.
And it's a long ass charge if you need this spell. So
Yep.
it's got to be beyond a 12-inch charge. All right, next page. Let's do the next one.
All right, we're moving into War Scrolls. Archean, up to 25 wounds.
That's good. He needs it.
Yeah, 3-up save, wizard that can cast 2 spells, although he still doesn't have a spell of his own. So I guess he's just going to Mystic Shield himself a lot. He is a War Master. He flies. He starts out moving 14. His attacks don't seem that much different than the old ones. I don't really remember what the old War Scroll looked like, but I mean, this doesn't seem like this seems like, he's 860 points. That looks like an 860 point attack profile. So let's see. Armor of Morcar has a ward of 5-up. And in addition, if the unmodified ward roll is a 6, you can pick an enemy unit within 3 inches to suffer a mortal wound. So let's just refresh here. 25 wounds, 3-up save, 5-up ward. Archean is never fucking dying.
It's cool that it's a flat 5-up ward.
Yeah.
I think that's new.
Yes, it was just against mortal wounds before, I think.
Yeah, he's super scary now. And then in addition, I think that the Crown of Domination ability is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
No inspiring presence within 12 inches. Has that always been a thing?
I don't remember.
Or rally. No rallying or inspiring presence.
Yeah, and that's not the only place that this has popped up. By my will, its command ability can be used at the start of the combat phase. Another friendly chaos unit has to receive this command, so he can't issue it to himself. Until the end of that phase, each model in that unit receiving, if it's slain, it can fight.
Yeah, that's
which I think is the same as the old one. The Ever Chosen, each time he's affected by a spell or an endless spell, you can roll a die and a 4-up, you ignore the effect.
That's really good.
That's
in addition to his wound save too, his ward save. So it's like, oh, I have a 4-up, 5-up against mortal wounds from spells. That's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, Eye of Sheeran. This is again, as before, screwing with the priority roll. You can, let's see, you roll a die. If this die replaces the priority roll for the next battle round, on a 1 through 3, your opponent has to take the first turn. On a 4 through 6, you have to take the first turn. The ability cannot be used while an enemy Archean is on the battlefield.
Ooh.
I mean, what's really powerful there is just I know what the priority in the next turn is going to be, so I get the plan.
Yeah, that's good. But it's interesting. It's changed to once per battle, so it's
Yeah.
But I guess the
I mean,
first
that would be
couple
way too
rounds,
powerful if you could do that every turn.
but the first couple rounds are some of the most intense rounds. So like that's pretty powerful to be able to plan around them.
Yeah. It also modifies the odds.
Yes.
See, it's not a straight up 50-50.
Mm,
Oh, look, we have a porn bot.
yeah.
Block user.
Right. So like if your opponent's going first, you're more likely to go first if you use this ability in the next round.
Yeah.
So like you have the opportunity to get a double turn at the start of your hero phase, and you can play as if you're going to get a double turn. Like it's extremely powerful.
All right. Favored warlord. If he's part of a Slaves to Darkness army, after the player has received the starting command points, but before the start of the first turn, you can pick one of the following marks of chaos. This unit. Okay, so that's just picking a mark. And you get to. So he's always undivided, which is interesting. And then he gets an additional mark of your choice, which you get to choose at the beginning of the battle. Slayer of Kings. Each time this unit fights, if the unmodified wound roll for 2 or more of the attacks that target the enemy hero with the Slayer of Kings is a 6, the hero is slain. Slayer of Kings is only rolling 2 dice, though. Or, I'm sorry, 4 dice. 2 up to hit. So, I mean, like getting double 6s on that is tough.
Yeah. But it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Every once in a blue moon. Also, I like this new ability with these monster factions that are tied to the different heads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it a lot.
I think they're all pretty situational, though.
Yeah, the Nurgle head, you roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the enemy unit, up to a maximum of 7 for each 3 plus its a mortal wound.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's definitely really good.
That's probably one of the better ones, the less situational ones, put that way.
Yep. The Corn head, you pick an enemy model within 3 inches and roll a die. If the roll is greater than this model's wounds characteristic, it is slain, and you can heal a number of wounds allocated to the unit equal to the model's wound characteristic. That's not bad.
It's greater than the wound characteristic, so like 3s are not ideal because then you're rolling a 4 up. But if you're rolling against models with 1 or 2 wounds, I think it's decent, especially if the Nurgle head isn't optimal.
Right.
So,
And then the Zeech head, you pick an endless spell within 12 inches, roll a die. On a 2 up, the endless spell is dispelled, and if the caster is on the battlefield, it suffers D3 mortal wounds. Situational.
Oh.
Just being able to go by to, something that has like a casting value of 8, say, that might be purple and sun-shaped. Pretty solid. All right, let's move along. By the way, these are like all in no particular order. This is just kind of how I shoved them all in here after the battle trait stuff. I was just like, okay, war scroll, or war scroll. So these are going to be in a surprise order. So Chosen, our new Chosen. 5-inch move, 3 up save, 3 wounds each. So pretty much all of that's better. And then they're throwing 3 attacks each with a 2-inch range, 3 up, rend 1, 2 damage, which is definitely solid. Their champion gets an extra attack. Their standard adds 1 to bravery. Musician adds 1 to run and charge. I'm sorry, not run and charge, just charge. Um, Heralds of Ruination once per battle in the combat phase. This unit, after this unit's fought for the first time, you can say it will unleash ruin. If you do, this unit can fight for a second time in that phase. So it's got the Vanguard ability, basically. Soul Splitter, if the if their hit roll is a 6, they inflict 1 mortal wound in addition to their normal damage. And then Reward of Chaos. If this unit is part of a Slaves to Darkness army, after deployment, you can roll once on the Eye of the Gods table for this unit.
So it's 16 attacks, 6 is our mortal wounds in addition, and then 2 damage per hit.
Yep.
So you're going to do 2 to 3 mortal wounds per swing. And then
Yep.
sometimes they do a strike last attack, which is pretty cool. You're going to have to keep track of a lot with this unit because you're going to have to keep track of whether or not you've fought twice with it, once per battle, and in addition, you're going to have to keep track of whatever you roll on the Eye of Gods table and like manage all the units independently. So it's a little bit of it's a really good unit. It's just it's a little strange.
You have that broken out over there, right?
Huh?
How many points are these guys?
I'll look right now. Chaos Chosen or they really don't order it. They just kind of like throw a bunch of stuff. They're not battle. I know that. Chaos. At the very bottom, those are all leaders. Chaos Chosen, 240 for 5. I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah, that seems fair. Like this is really strong.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. They're very slow. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I mean, 16 attacks.
Well, wait a second though. With Slanesh, they add 1 to run and charge rolls. So you add 2 to charge rolls, and you can sprint them. So they're really fast and scary in Slanesh.
So just doing the quick math, a unit of 5 of these guys is going to average probably either 8 or 10 damage and do like 2 or 3 mortal wounds plus, and that's assuming against a 4-up save, and then whatever this is modified with from like the Eye of the Gods table plus whatever God mark they have. Yeah, I like this unit a lot now.
I think it's fun. It's a good elite unit.
Yeah, plus those models the new models are sexy. I love those.
Yeah, they are. I might actually buy a couple sets to modify my to use them to kit bash Wrathmongers and Cornets. I really love the new Slaves tomorrow. So I think they look so cool.
Yeah, I'm like, I already have like about 5,000 points of Slaves to Darkness, but it's all like Nurgle converted stuff. And now I'm like, I really love the new models. I just kind of want to go and start a second Slaves to Darkness army with like an undivided sort of theme, and just so I can play it as whatever. Anyway,
yeah, that's what I've been doing with my Khorne. I've been kit bashing all the new Slaves to Darkness models into Khorne units because I love them so much.
Yep.
Yeah, Travis, the Christmas box looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I wanted to buy that box just based on like the models that are in it, and now I'm like, well, I guess I'm all in for Slaves to Darkness army. All right.
The Chaos Sorcerer is kind of why I think that like ignore spells ability is kind of shit. Because sometimes you're going to cast a stupid spell, and on your own unit, is Demonic Power is a spell. Yeah, you're going to cast a spell on your own unit, and you're going to be all like stoked to get +1 to hit and wound, and you're going to roll a 6, and it's going to piss you off.
Yep.
It's kind of I really think that needs to be FAQ to spells your opponents control, or change it to a you may roll to ignore, so you have the option. But I think this guy's good. I think his abilities are good. He hasn't changed very much.
Yeah, I mean, just handing out a 6-up ward is not
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not as good as +1 to save, but
No, no, it's not. But like, do we really need another +1 to save ability? Like,
yeah, I mean, especially as you'll see with a lot of these scrolls, like those chosen were a 3-up save. The warriors are a 3-up save. Pretty sure the knights are a 3-up save. Like,
that thing is the freaking wizard's a 4-up save. That's awesome.
yeah,
Wizards are usually a 5-up, unless you're
or a 6.
Stormcast. Yeah.
All right, Chaos Warriors. 5-inch move, 3-up save, 2 wounds each. Champion gets an extra attack. Standard bearer is extra bravery. Musician is +1 to charge. Bringers of Desolation add 1 to the attack's characteristic of this unit's melee weapons while it is wholly within enemy territory or wholly within 12 inches of an objective that you do not control. And then if you have shields, they have a 5-up ward against mortal wounds. Actually, I think they just always have shields.
Yeah, that's always been the case. Looking at this scroll, it really just shows me how bad Blood Warriors are now, like in terms of like the power creep. And I know they're 20 points more. These guys are no, they're 220, right?
Yeah.
They're all right, so they're 30 points more. But the thing is, these guys have rend, they have a 3-up save, so that's like a significant boost to their abilities in general. Like, these guys are so much better.
Yeah, I mean,
they add 1 to charge rolls built in. I mean, there's just so many things about this war scroll that, like, they have bonuses to attack for being in enemy territory or wholly with 12 an objective that you don't control. I mean, that's like when it matters, right? Most of the time.
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
it's very frustrating.
Weapons always have rend now. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
But at the same time,
really
like,
good.
this is actually a really good sign for the armies that haven't been revisited, because it kind of shows, like, okay, Chaos Warriors are supposed to be threatening. Let's make them threatening.
Yep.
Chaos Knights.
Yep.
Dude, these models are flipping awesome.
Yeah, the new models are great. 10-inch move, 3-up save, 3 wounds each.
Wow.
The champion gets an extra attack. The standard bearer is +1 bravery. The musician is +1 charge. Riders of Doom, when a model in this unit makes an attack with its cursed lance, instead of using the rend characteristic for that attack, or I'm sorry, the range characteristic for that attack, you can target an enemy unit within a half an inch of another model from this unit that is itself within a half an inch of the attacking model. So this is why I say, 10-man units of Chaos Knights are going to be a thing. You just give them all lances, and now you can always fight in 2 ranks with them.
But there's also an absolute legitimate argument to take these in units of 5 with flails.
Yep.
Because, like, those things are going to chew through battle line so fast. Yeah. That's just awesome. 30 attacks, 3s and 3s, even with no rend. So many battle line units have 5s and 4s for saves, and they're just going to die. And it's just so good. But the lances are absolutely awesome in units of 10, 100%.
The ensorcelled warhammers are always damage 2 now. Like, what?
See, to me, that's good, but like only if you're taking them in a smaller unit. Like, they're definitely better than the lances if you're taking the units of 5. Yeah. But this unit as a whole is just way better than it used to be. How much? What's the difference? These guys cost,
I think they're like 230 now.
Are they battle line? They are. 230 for 5. These guys are awesome.
Yep.
I say these guys, they're just awesome. I love them. I think that they're very threatening.
Yeah. All right. Up next, the Ogroid Theridons. This is a scroll that got leaked a while ago. So you can either give them what is it? Goran Falchion?
Mm.
How you pronounce that? Or a Goran Great
Belgium.
Axe?
Yeah.
If they have the top profile, they have a save characteristic of 4 up instead of 5 up. But then if they have the Great Axe, it's a lot more damage.
Yeah, those knights are finally good. It's really nice to see because they made these awesome models and there was just no good reason to take them.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I've always liked Chaos Knights. But then again, like, I like dumb stuff that's not necessarily that great. So these guys, 6-inch move, 5 wounds each, 5 up save. They can go to a 4 up. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons if any wounds are mortal wounds allocated to it earlier in the same phase. So if they get attacked first, they take damage, then they're +1 to wound. Unleash Savagery. Once per battle, this unit is picked to fight. You can unleash their savagery and add 1 to the attack's characteristic of the unit's melee weapons till the end of that phase. However, this unit cannot receive the Inspiring Presence command in the same turn that they have unleashed their savagery.
I think these guys are awesome.
So, like, let's just take a quick look. If you give them Great Axes and you mark them Khorne and you charge with them, and then you unleash savagery on that charge, they're getting 5 attacks each, 3s and 3s, rend 2, 3 damage.
I just think they're good. Like,
Yeah.
They're a nice glass cannon unit and they're tanky. I think they're going to be awesome for just like smashing a monster really hard before the monster hits them back.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, these are just cool, solid models. Are awesome.
Keep in mind the guys with shields have a 4-up save rather than a 5, so there's definitely a reason to take them with the falchions instead of the.
All right, and Bellicor, he's almost identical to.
His change is Dark Master. You just roll 1 dice for that unit for the whole shebang.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's pretty much the same as.
I really like the change here because it's less complicated and it does the same thing.
Yes. But it also makes it more swingy. Like the old version, like each time they did something you rolled, so like I think it was more likely to kind of snag a unit with something and kind of take them out for the rest of that round. This is like it's just on a 3-up. It does nothing. Otherwise, it's normal. And it's still just a once per battle effect.
But you know what? That's still a 66% chance in your favor. And as far as I'm concerned, like this is the way it should be. Like we don't need a million billion rolls every time you do something. Like abilities don't have to be that complicated to be impactful.
Mm-hmm.
He's still very good.
Yep. All right, Chaos Lord. This is Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. 9-inch move, 3-up save, 9 wounds. I think his profile has been pared down to be a little bit less complicated. I think he had 4 possible attacks last time. Now it's just mount and your choice of Demon Bound Blade or Battle Axe. Demon Bound Blade does the same thing it did before. Inflicts a mortal wound on a 6 to hit in addition to normal damage. Brutish Rampage. Roll a die for each enemy unit within an inch. After the unit makes a charge on a 2-up, it does D3 mortal wounds. So,
I just think this guy's really good. I think he's for 220 home run.
Yep.
9 wounds is annoying. He's got no damage table. He's fast. He's got a 3-up save. He's pretty defensive. You can equip him with an artifact, which makes him a lot better. And then, in addition, he's got some solid attacks. I mean, for 220, he's just a good unit.
Yep. And if he makes a charge move, he gets to strike first. And in addition, if he made a charge move after the unit has fought in the combat phase, you can pick a friendly Chaos Knight, Chaos Chariot, or Chaos Gorbius Chariot unit wholly within 12 inches, and that unit can fight immediately. So not only does he strike first, he can potentially
another
take
guy do
another
it, too.
unit along with him.
Like, let's see. If it made a charge move. So if you charge with 2 of these, you could do that with 2 separate units, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's really good. I think this guy is just a house. And I think you're going to see him a lot on the table.
Yep, definitely. Gorbeast Chariot. This is like, I can't believe they wrote this rule. Okay, 8 wounds, 9-inch move, 4 up save. It has melee weapon profiles. Not that excited about those. Champion gets an extra attack if it's a unit of 3. Unstoppable momentum. I see you making a face about this already. At the end of your combat phase, if this unit has made a charge move this turn, it can make a normal move, even if it's within 3 inches of enemy units. If it does so, and it passes across other models with a wound characteristic of 4 or less in the same manner that it can fly. In addition, after each such move, you can pick 1 enemy unit that it passed across and roll a die for each model in that unit. For each 3 up, the enemy unit suffers D6 mortal wounds. That can't be right. That cannot be right.
You can pick 1 enemy unit it passed across and roll a dice for each model. Yeah, that's not right. So that's going to get FAQ'd in like a hot second. It's probably pick 1 enemy unit on a 3 up, they suffer D6 mortal wounds.
Yeah.
But like, you just wipe every enemy unit. You just run 1,000,000 of these, and they're super cheap. They're 115. That's just poorly written.
Yeah. That.
Oh, it means the Gorbeast Chariot unit. Okay.
Okay.
That makes a lot more sense. Pick 1.
It's still bananas good. Then.
So for each model in this unit, I don't think it's bananas. I think it's just good. And I think it's really what it needs to be. I think the Gorbeast Chariots are going to be the kind of model where, like, you got your Kakadrak guy and a bunch of whatevers. You charge in with your Kakadrak and all your duders, and then the Kakadrak is taking the meat of the damage with like your anvil, and this guy is charging on the corner, and he's just going to run over the rest of that whatever's behind that unit. Mm-hmm. You're going to roll a bunch of dice and kill shit. I think he's good. I think he's really good. I think you're going to I think you'll absolutely see if people play this. This is a good card. This is a good card. It's a good unit.
All right. Our old Chaos Lord on foot. He can take a retinue. Can pick a friendly Chaos Warrior, Chaos Chosen unit to be his retinue. He's got the Demon Bound Blade. So the retinue, before you allocate a wound or a mortal wound to this unit, instead of making a ward roll for a wound or mortal wound that would be allocated to this unit, pick a unit within 3 inches of its retinue. Roll a die on a 1 or 2, it's allocated as normal. On a 3+, the wound is allocated to the unit's retinue instead. And then Glory in Battle. After the unit has fought in the combat phase for the first time, if its retinue has not yet fought in the combat phase and it's within 3 inches of this unit and is wholly within 12 inches.
I hate this unit. Yeah. I know it's probably good, but there's too many words and it's too annoying to think about.
Yeah. I mean, basically, he gets to strike first, and if he strikes first and his retinue is in combat, they can go again immediately. So it's the same sort of rule as the Chaos Lord and Karkadrak, except like he's doing it with the foot units, and the Karkadrak is a unit doing it with the mounted units.
Yeah. Now that said, I think he's pretty efficient.
Yep.
Like the way his war scroll is at 115 points, I think his war scroll.
Yeah.
115. Like, look at all the attacks you're getting. Like, do you get all those attacks?
He is armed with, yeah, he's armed with either the demon bound flail or the other two.
Okay. I mean, I think the other two are technically better.
Yeah, I think so. All right. Varangard, funny story. These are almost identical to what they used to be.
What's different?
They're elite. They got the demon bound blades that used to work the same way as they used to. Impaling charge works exactly the same as it used to. Relentless killers, they can once per battle, they can fight twice. And warp steel shields, they have a 4-up ward against mortal wounds. So, I mean, Varangard have always been good. They are still good. They can also now rally on a 5-up in the Knights of the Empty Throne, or rally on a 4-up in Host of the Everchosen. So, it's interesting. If you always be charging and you're running them as corn, then they're going to do a hell of a lot of damage.
I'm just reading their war scroll. I'm trying to wrap my head around. I mean, at first glance, I think the ensorcelled weapon is really good.
Yeah, I think the ensorcelled weapons I think are different than they used to be. I think they were 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, and 1 damage. So I think that is a lot better than it used to be. The Demon Blade I think is the same. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, like, why would you not pick ensorcelled weapons?
Well, because of the rend, like it's definitely the other, and Demon Forge Blade I think is straight up better than a Fell Spear, because in most cases you are running these in units of 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, but the Fell Spear also, that's rend characteristic has been improved as well.
Yeah.
So it goes to
add 1 to rune roll. Okay, so if it makes a charge roll, you add rend. So you add rend and you add 1 to rune rolls for Fell Spears if you make a charge. So I can see why the Fell Spear is really good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're killing big monsters with a high save, the Fell Spear seems like the play.
Yeah.
So I like this unit. Like, you've got a lot of different options depending on the meta. I think it'll always see play. And look at the once per battle ability is not restricting you to fight last. It's just like you get to pick the unit again.
Yeah, I mean that might get errata, but
I don't think it will. These guys are expensive.
Yeah, like 320, I think.
No, 290, but they're absolutely worth taking.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're good. Yep. They're big monsters, but they're in packs of 3.
I think we have hit the end.
Chaos. Oh, nope. Chaos Warriors. No, we went over them. Sorcerer Lord,
went
Chaos
through
Warriors,
all that
Chaos
stuff
Knights.
already.
Chosen. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, I think this book is super solid. I think it's just really fun looking.
Yeah.
It doesn't strike me as like, I think Slaanesh is the best in my opinion. Like, everything else is very random, but Slaanesh is just like, you get there and like Cakadrax with Slaanesh and Varangard and Knights and Chariots sounds so scary.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
god.
Look really quick and see, because I like put this whole slideshow together in like on my phone. So I have like more images on my phone, I think. I might.
And Archeon's 860. I think Archeon's so good too. There's just so much good stuff in here. Like, I think you could play this army a million different ways and have a good time. I really like this book.
Yeah. Chaos Chariots. 12-inch move, 7 wounds, 4-up save. They do impact hits, and it can run in charge, so it's real fast.
Yeah, but I think it's more important that you're able to charge a unit and then move afterward. Like that's so
Yeah.
much more useful than just run and charge.
Right. The War Shrine is the one that we missed before in this. Okay. So same as before, it has the 5-up ward save. I mean, not 5-up ward save, 6-up ward save.
Aura.
Yep. Aura starts at 18 inches and goes down to 9 as it takes damage. And then we have prayers. They all go off on 3s. The one for now, all of these can only target a unit with. Or hold on. The prayers. Okay, so this unit. Okay, it has to can only use the prayer that is the same as the mark that you give it, and it can only use the prayer on a friendly unit that has that same mark. So if it's marked Nurgle, then it can only use the Nurgle prayer, and it can only target Nurgle units.
So another thing is that the Winds of Chaos have got updated on the Sorcerer Lord on the Mana Core. You know, before it was like each 5 did a mortal wound.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's every 5 does a mortal wound, but every 6 does 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's so scary. But I don't think it's as bad in this meta. Like that would have been really good 2 years ago, but now that's kind of fair because now that you have like you have to pay a cost to increase the size of the unit.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're seeing less units that are like 30, 40 models. So unless you're playing against Skaven, I don't think that's a big deal.
Or gets, they can still take a unit of 60.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would ever want to put 60 grots on a table, though, but you know.
I don't.
All right. So the prayers for the Chaos War Shrine for Undivided. You have the number of models that flee from failed battle shock tests. For Corn, you add 1 to charge rolls. For Zinch, you subtract 1 from wound rolls that target that unit. For Nurgle, let's see. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks that they make. And for Slanesh, you get the 3d6 charge.
I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But especially like because all these characters have these mega bonuses when you make charge, and all these units have these mega bonuses when you make charges. So I just think it makes the Kakadrak so appealing. Like Kakadrak, I think Kakadrak is just so good. I really like that unit.
Chaos Lord on Demonic Mount is really similar to the Lord on Kakadrak. He just has a weaker mount and has 8 wounds instead of 9. And let's see if there's anything else that I missed. I didn't bother uploading the grand strategies and battle tactics. Shocker, they all kind of suck, and I really hope that no one lets you actually ever use those.
I'll let you use them in my tournament, Paul. You can use them in mine.
Oh, there is another page of artifacts that are just for demon princes. One, the demon prince can always strike first. One at the start of the battle round after the setup. At the start of the first battle round after setup is complete. Before the first turn begins, you can pick 1 enemy your hero or enemy monster on the battlefield. If you do, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly units that target that unit. So you can just pick an enemy unit that is any hero or monster, and your whole army is +1 to wound against them. And then
like Gargants, now that Gargants are being released.
Yeah, and then the last one, once per battle in your hero phase, you can pick 1 terrain feature within 12 inches of the bearer, roll a die for each model within 1 inch of the terrain feature. For every 6th the model unit suffers 1 mortal wound. In addition, until the end of your next hero phase, that terrain feature blocks visibility in the same manner as a wildwood. I think that is it. Yep, that's everything I got.
Yeah, I think this whole book is good. I can't wait to see people play it.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this. I like this book a lot. I like what they're doing here. So yeah, that's what we got, guys. So I think with that, it's like after 11 p.m. We both have young children that will get us up very early in the morning. I know I have a soccer game to go to in the morning.
I've got to go to a trampoline park with my son, so I'm going to be dead.
Have fun with that, buddy.
I go every weekend, and it knocks him out, and I'm happy because he sleeps for 2.5 hours, and I can paint.
All right. Well, it is time to say goodnight to everyone. If there's still more out of this book that hasn't been leaked yet, but I mean, this is the meat of the whole thing. So anyway, I'll talk to you all later.
See ya.
How do I stop? Oh, there's end broadcast. End broadcast.